pleased to continue with a few more achievements from the FT3 program in the last few months. So I'll start with the goal one. So you might recall that in FT3, we are working across 3 different goal areas. The first one being, what is it that we can do to help advance access at the system level? And some examples of what we have been doing. First of all, one of the areas we work on is to advance the understanding of the value of precision medicine. And those of you who have been involved in FT3 for a while might recall that we have been doing some really exciting research work in understanding concrete case examples of where novel value drivers have been considered in decision-making in different countries and regions. We learned that it is a gap. And even though a lot of work has been done in identifying and suggesting new drivers, we find that there is limited uptake, and we see that there is a lot of potential for FT3 to continue to do some more work here. Another example of what we have been doing on a related subject, which is around patient experience data. We have been hearing that there's a lot of interest from the FT3 community in learning how patient experience data can be used and to elevate the recognition of these kinds of data points. And learning about the methods that can be used to make sure that these kinds of pieces of information are being considered in HTA decision-making. So that's more from the value piece. And then another highlight that I wanted to bring from this work here, which is continuing in 2025, is what we call the Access and Advocacy Roadmap. So this is quite an ambitious piece of work where we're trying to understand how we can really support precision medicine champions to influence change where they are by helping them understand the situation where they are, like what are the different dimensions they can play with and help improve access, and what kind of interventions they might be able to apply. So here's just a snapshot of what we have been doing in goal 1. And I don't know, I think I might have seen Nicole Sheehan on the line. I'm wondering if you might be able to share a few comments about the access and advocacy work now or potentially later.
Sure. And also I'll put in the chat, if you haven't signed up, we do have on January 21st, my co-presenter will be the executive director of FUTEHE in Mexico. And we will be giving some examples and talking about lessons learned and the value of the global and local partnership. So if you have not signed up yet, please invite you to join us on January 21st.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Nicole. So moving to the next goal area. So the second goal area is all about improving access at the care level. And again, here we have been doing a lot of different things. I will just highlight a couple of examples more from supporting the healthcare professional side of things. So I already mentioned this study that we had done, a literature review to understand the needs from the healthcare professional community. And one of the outcomes we had learned was that there's a lot of potential and more work we can do to support the nursing community. So based on that outcome and learning, we are looking at how we can more concretely support nurses. And we have started a community of practice with the Global Power of Oncology Nurses, or GPON network, which is a network that's providing peer-to-peer support between high and low income countries. And Sylvia is joining us from GPON, and I'm wondering if you might be able to say a couple of words about the last session we had and also the one that's coming up in a few weeks' time.
Yes, of course. Thank you, Helen. Just a short introduction. My name is Silvia. I'm cancer nurse specialist from Croatia, and I'm also a member of GPON, as Helen mentioned, and also EON's education working group member. So I was introduced with the FT3 at the beginning of the last year. Celia hooked me in this for this program, and after a few online meetings, I met with Helena in person during the ESMO in Barcelona, and my first big assignment was in December of last year when we held this workshop, which we called From Challenges to Solutions, Empowering Nurses in Precision Oncology. And this session, the aim of this session was to kind of start of an ongoing global dialogue, creating a space where nurses can connect and learn from one another and try to contribute to the future of oncology care. So I just want to say, maybe in one sentence, maybe I just want to emphasize the importance of having this kind of platform for peer-to-peer sharing and support. So I'm very thankful to FT3 for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sylvia, and thank you also very much for your participation. It's much appreciated. Another example that I wanted to give, this is always a tongue twister for me, is the patient-friendly biomarker test results disclosure tool template, which those of you who know FT3, we have been working on for some time. We're pleased to share that now we have a first version of this template completed. We are moving to a piloting phase. You might have heard again last year that we are starting a pilot in Italy to begin with and planning on publishing the results by the end of this year. And in parallel, we're also exploring some opportunities in other countries, such as in Argentina. And I think Deb, who is on the line, may be able to, I've been told, may be able to share some insights about this work.
Well, I just wanted to say how important it is. We're, you know, there are different groups working on different pieces of this whole complex subject. And so having patient-friendly results is very, very important. I bring this up at just about every meeting that I'm in. There are possibilities, I think, this next year to try to pilot something in the US as well. I'm a part of some different cancer center programs. So I'm talking with some of the cancer centers about that to see who might be interested in running that, and also some patient advocacy groups. One in particular is one that I've decided to partner with, and we're building something called the Institute at One Cancer Place. And biomarker are one of our learning sessions that we're going to be building this year. So we plan to build these types of tools into that as well, to get to patient communities as well as to healthcare providers.
Thanks so much, Deb, for that overview. All right, so I think with that, we can move to goal 3. Goal 3 is more about our mission, which is to connect and accelerate the wider precision medicine ecosystem. What we have been doing to help move this forward, we have been trying to create a space for more peer-to-peer kind of support within same stakeholder groups, but also across stakeholder groups as well. We have been experimenting with this concept of a community of practice in-person meeting. We did a couple of those last year. We tried virtual and face-to-face formats where we could bring together different champions of precision medicine and for them to come and basically present like what they have done and strategies they have tried, and to align that also with a very simplistic way of modeling different types of country archetypes, which is what you see on the bottom right-hand side. We're planning on continuing to do that in 2025 and also to do more of them. So for example, the Patient Engagement Open Forum, which will take place in June, we'd love to do some more in-person sessions there. So as we continue to work on that, we will let you know. The other thing, of course, that's really important to support this goal 3 is the demonstration and pilots. And with that, if Vincent, you could just move to the next slide for me, that would be fantastic. And the demonstration pilots are a really important part of the work that we're doing in FT3, because it's a way for us to make sure that what we are doing is not just about creating tools that live on a website, but really making impact on the ground. And as we move to 2025, I think what we're understanding more and more is that the opportunity of FT3 to create value is to understand what are the kinds of interventions that might work in different types of situations, or what we call country models or country archetypes. And the demonstration pilots are a way for us to test these assumptions in real life, and to make learnings that then we can share back with the wider FT3 community. So I'm pleased to share that we have some updates from 2 of the pilots that have been running already in the past couple of years. We have, of course, the pilot in Hungary and also one in Spain. The pilot in the Philippines is also ongoing. This one is a newer pilot, and we're hoping to move to a testing phase in the next few months, the Q1 of 2025, where we're developing some resource to support testing and best practices and tissue extraction. But for some updates from Spain and Hungary, I'd love to hand it over first to Erica and then to the Spanish team. So if we could move to the next slide, and also if Erica, you'd be willing to share with us your Shiny Star updates from last year, that would be fantastic.
Of course. Good afternoon, everyone. I believe the Hungary pilot in the 2024 closed an exciting and successful year. In the past year, we managed the few different activities. We had created the 2 educational videos to improve the patient understanding and access. And we had a collaboration with the 140 pulmonary outpatients care sites to share joint created resources. And we participated in the 4K national pulmonary conferences to involve the medical community. In addition to these activities, we also engaged in a dialogue with the several stakeholders in other to understand the supply and the system level barriers the patients face in assessing the biomarker testing and targeted therapies in Hungary. During the discussion, the following main barriers to assess emerged. The first is the reimbursement delays for the individual applications. And secondly, the limited healthcare investment and the lack of national cancer plan. And thirdly, the urban-rural differences in the molecular centers and histology services. And the last is probably not the Hungarian specialty. The lack of medical personnel disrupts the community of care. This was the main things that we had experienced. And thank you for the FT3, all of your support. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much for that update, Erica. And I think I like this example because the pilot in Hungary was one that we went into thinking that one of the issues was patient education and awareness, which it is. But I think increasingly we find that there are these kinds of interdependent barriers and the importance of tackling several of them at the same time. So I think that this is a great example of that. And the other thing that I think is a learning from this pilot, a bit more about the way we had run the pilot, was how successful it is for people like Erica to work closely with the medical community. And this has been really beneficial, I think, and we're taking that approach with other kinds of pilots, like smaller scale pilots across the FT3 community as well. So with that, I'd like to move to the other update, which is the pilot in Spain, which came to a really nice conclusion at the end of last year. And for this, I think it's Vincent who's going to give the update, if I'm not mistaken.
That's correct. Unfortunately, neither Diego, who's on vacation, nor Belen and Bernard could make it today. So I'm happy to present on their behalf. And as Elena said, the pilot is concluding. We're in the last steps of ensuring continuity for our local partners, and 2024, building on the different research that we had done the year before, has been quite successful and impactful. On the left-hand side of the slide, you can explore some of the metrics that we've put together. We had a national press conference where we had coverage from many different news outlets on the patient experience and expectations for biomarker testing in Spain, specifically on lung cancer. We had an educational webinar together with the medical society and a pathologist attending. And towards the end of the year, we endeavored to pursue the two-pronged approach a little bit more and focus on the system level, where we conducted a roundtable together with the coordinator of the precision medicine plan in Andalusia and the regional president of the Medical Oncology Society, to understand potential collaborative pathways for the implementation of biomarker testing in Andalusia, leveraging the momentum that already exists there. As Spain is a very and highly decentralized country, the partners decided to focus on one region to begin with, and now we're looking to leverage those learnings gathered in that region to make change happen and scale that across Spain. So it's been really important in that process to emphasize the leadership of the patient groups. They have really unlocked the stakeholder access, both in the medical community, but also considering the administration and political stakeholders in Andalusia. The public reach and impact has been quite impressive, and also that is due to the multi-stakeholder collaboration that was put together locally. And ultimately, policy change, of course, is something that the local partners aim for. And we have learned that the timing is extremely important, and leveraging the connections made with other stakeholders is an additional factor that can support in bringing about the change that is desired. So I'm really happy about how this collaboration went, and look forward to supporting the local partners in continuing this success in the coming months and years.
Thanks a lot, Vincent, for walking us through that. And I think what's most exciting for me about these pilots is the scalability potential. And rest assured, even though these pilots will be concluding the phase that they're in today, the idea is to continue this work and continue and building on the learnings we have built so far. We will be sharing with you in a few minutes some ideas we have been gathering about the next phase of this work. So stay tuned, and we'd love to hear from you as well on your thoughts of how we can move. So with that, we are concluding the achievements chapter. And what we'd like to do is to take some minutes now to go through and walk you through the direction of travel for this year, which we have landed on. Again, thanks to the fantastic input of the FT3 members and the FT3 board. So I will give you an overview, and then I will invite some of my team members and some members of the community practice to help explain what we have in store. And we'd love to hear from you as well. Again, as we go through, please ask us questions and also share with us how this links to the plans you have, so that we can make the most of this opportunity. So if we can move to the next slide, please, and perhaps we can just skip this one because it's just the goal areas again. Something that I wanted to share with you is something that I don't think we have shared with the wider community of practice before. One of the things that we have been doing at the FT3 board level is to think about what is it that we can do to clarify really what is it that we are here to do. So of course, there are different kinds of barrier areas where we're trying to make learnings about what we can do to overcome them. But something that we felt we could benefit from is to have a more clear understanding of what's the ultimate North Star, like what is it that we want from different stakeholder types. And we call these behavior change North Stars. And we had a series of workshops with the board where we thought about them, and we used different personas to kind of imagine what is it that is important for these kinds of stakeholders, and what is it that we really want them to do. And perhaps we never reach these behavior change North Stars, but having a clear North Star in mind, we feel can help us in the work that we do. So I just wanted to share these with you because we do take these into consideration with the work plan. So with the healthcare professional and broader scientific community, where we landed is that we would like them to make sure that the right diagnostic and treatment options are implemented at the right time through a care process that's really putting the patient at the center. For individual payers and HTA bodies, we said that we want to make sure that decision-making and value is being assessed by overall socioeconomic value and impact on patients' quality of life. For patient organizations, which include patient organizations at different levels, so at the national level, but also the bigger or more umbrella organizations, what we'd like to aim for is a reality where patient organizations have personalized healthcare embedded in their patient and policy-facing work priorities in recognition of the growing importance. And those who wish to do so are able to and well-equipped to be able to advocate for change. And then finally, with the regional and international public health authorities, we would love a reality where they have published some kind of recommendations that personalized healthcare solutions should be included as part of universal health coverage, demonstrating this consensus on the vision that every patient should have access to personalized healthcare solutions, including quality molecular diagnostic to live their best lives. I just wanted to add that having this clarity not only helps FT3, but we'd love to share this also with like sister initiatives and others working in this space so that we can all work collectively towards these goals. So with that, if we can move to the next slide, this is going to look like a lot. Don't worry, we'll walk you through them step by step. This is just a summary of all the different work streams we have. The working groups might be familiar for you. And here we have just summarized at the high level how each of these work streams are going to be contributing to system change in 2025. We'll take these step by step, but I just wanted to highlight a couple of overall principles or focus areas that we have. So overall, as I had mentioned before, where we are in FT3 is we'd like to really focus more on adoption and implementation of existing assets and resources. So that's one thing. And then the other thing is we would really like to apply this country archetype or country model approach. So if you remember, I had shared this kind of quadrant that we had been developing. So we'd like to apply this approach across the board to understand as we tackle each of these barriers in isolation, that we're always considering how does this apply in a low middle income country versus high income country, for a country that has public reimbursement versus doesn't have public reimbursement. So this is something that will become more and more a transversal thing that we look at across the FT3 program. So I just wanted to highlight that, but what I will do is I will hand off to my colleague Lidovai in a second, who's going to walk you through in more detail what we're planning on doing for the Goal 1 activities. And if we can move to the next slide, I'd also invite you to consider these questions as we go through that. So we'd love to hear from you on how the direction of travel connects with the priorities you have individually or in your organizations, and also what insights or suggestions you would like to share. And you can put your hand up or put it in the chat. We love to hear from you because this will really help us move forward. And I think what we'll try to do is to maybe pause in between each goal area so that there's time for everyone to react. So with that, I'm going to hand over to you, Lidovai. And if anyone has any questions already, feel free to drop it in the chat and I will respond.
Thank you, Elena, and hi, everyone. Happy New Year. I can still say that to you, and looking forward to hear what your plans are for 2025. So I will talk a little bit about the Goal 1 area. And for those who may not recall what Goal 1 was again, Goal 1 is about looking at how we can make evidence-based precision medicine accepted by decision makers. To that end, we work on 3 areas of work. So one end is that we will equip champions with insights and guidance on how to practically influence change where you are located. We will do that by fine-tune and test the access and advocacy roadmap that was developed last year in different country contexts, to ultimately aim for that we get precision medicine available and acceptable in different countries. At the same time, we work more, I would say, on a structural change level, supporting the overall shift that is happening towards value-based care, where we aim to build a case book on novel value drivers that are already applied for inspiration for champions to advocate for more holistic assessments. And we also aim to build on that towards more global principles. Aside from that, we also aim to identify and share methods for the collection and use of patient experience data to make sure that also the right data is available for informed decision making to have a common understanding of precision medicine. So in summary, we are continuing the work from the previous year towards value-based care. What we have focused on a little bit more for this year is the so-called demand versus supply side. So on the demand side, we're really looking at how can we increase the credibility of novel value drivers and patient experience data in decision-making, especially at the HTA level. Well, on the supply side, we are looking at how can we ensure that we collect as a community the right data that is useful for decision-making. And with that, we also shifted a little bit our attention from directly influencing HTAs and regulators to more working collectively also with global stakeholders, working with HDI and ISPOR and champions to collectively influence change rather than one by one at a local level. So with that, I can show you the 3 projects that relate to this goal, and you're very much welcome to contribute, to participate, to join the project group calls if it aligns with the priorities of your work plan, or if there's anything else that you would like to add to this project. So one is the so-called Access and Advocacy project. And as we mentioned, this project will really focus in 2025 on supporting change with the roadmap and in piloting that in different country contexts. And one of them is in Croatia. And I think Ivica is here also to share a little bit about that work that you are aiming to do with us in Croatia. Ivica, would you like to say a few words around that?
Yes, thank you, Lidivai. So, as for what my goals are, it actually aligned with this tool testing. So, because the conditions in the country aligned, and we, as an organization, are part of 2 big consortiums, 2 big European projects. One is ECOS, which is building national cancer hubs, and the other one is comprehensive cancer infrastructure, which is building it on national levels. So I think that, and in 2024, Croatia got the National Center for Precision Medicine and the National Laboratory, which is intended to become the regional one in the future. We decided to test this because everything sounds fine now when they say all of these things, but patients still don't have the same access in different parts of the country, and we want to test the system. What is the level of readiness, and what are the discrepancies within the system on the level of hospitals and care providers, but also researchers. And that's why we had this initial conversation about testing the tool in Croatia with Sylvia, Vincent, and Jarut, and I hope we will continue to work on this. Thank you for now.
Thank you, Ivica, and interesting to hear the advancements in Croatia, and also very much looking forward to learning how to accelerate access in that context, and how the roadmap may be a valuable tool, what we can learn from it with you. So thanks for that. The second project under this goal is a so-called Value to Precision Medicine, which is more about building the credibility for novel value drivers and more holistic value assessments. So we will focus on identifying some case examples of their application already, building on the work of last year, but also aim to shape this further towards global principles to advocate for more inclusion for holistic assessments. Related to that, we also kicked off last year this project called PAT and PM, which stands for Patient Experience Data and Precision Medicine, to really look at and elevate the use of patient experience data in HTA, looking at appropriate methodologies for use in HTA and their acceptance, to making sure that the right data is collected, also linked with novel value drivers. So with that, I would like to also invite Perla from Oncología to say a few words about your priorities for 2025 and how these projects relate to that work, or what you're looking forward to shape further with the community.
Okay, so hi everyone. My name is Perla, I'm from Oncología, and we're actually really excited about the PED and PM project. We are a patient organization, and we've started investing in research and trying to do research in patient experience with patients. And I think the PED in PM is going to help us a lot, and it's already been very interesting. Learning new methodologies and learning what other people are doing. And I think this is something, a strength in the FT3 is that we can always share new experiences, and we always get, and I think it's going to be really important for us to be part of this conversation, so we can bring those experiences, those methodologies, and learn from it and try to apply it in our own way, in our own contexts. And I don't know, I'm really excited for the 2025 goals.
Thank you, Perla. We're equally excited, and let's learn together. It's not an easy topic, but step by step, I think we can work collectively to drive this work forward. So that's it for me on the more system goal level. With that, I would like to hand it over to my colleague to look at how we can also influence adoption more at the care level. So Eleonora, I will hand it over to you.
Thank you, Lidevai. So hello everyone and Happy New Year from my side as well. So as Lidevai mentioned, this goal is a bit more focused on the care level, and within goal 2, what we aim to do is to have an impact on 2 main stakeholder groups at the main level. On one side, the healthcare professionals, and on the other side, patients. So one of the things that we aim to do is to support HCPs in implementing precision medicine at the point of care and clinical shared decision making. We will keep on working on increasing awareness on care level barriers and potential solutions across different contexts, starting with nurses and pathologists. And Elena briefly presented the work that we already started doing with nurses, with Sylvia kindly commenting on that. And we will test solutions, including the patient-friendly biomarker test report summary template as a tool for results disclosure in clinical practice. And this would allow us to get to the goal that Elena previously mentioned, so that the right diagnostic and treatment options are implemented at the right time throughout the care process that puts the patient at the center, and to ensure that patients are able to make informed care decisions with their healthcare professionals. And then when we look at the patient side, we aim to increase patient awareness and support empowerment, because we acknowledge that a more informed patient can lead to better patient outcomes. And so together with testing solutions, including the biomarker test reports, we will also continue to disseminate and test adaptable educational resources, generating insights on their effectiveness and on how to integrate these resources and leverage them throughout the clinical practice and the care process, so that we can ensure patient organizations have personalized healthcare embedded in their patient and policy-facing work, and acknowledge its growing importance. So overall, we really aim to increase our focus this year on supporting healthcare professionals, again, starting from nurses and pathologists. We also potentially aim to look at a demonstration pilot to support pathologists and their lab staff, following the interests of some of the members, to fulfill our ambition to support healthcare professionals overall, starting with nurses and pathologists, and with aim to drive the adoption and implementation of existing resources that the community has been co-creating in the past years. So with this, I will hand it over to my colleague Ozioma, that will walk you through the different projects that are part of Goal 2.
Thanks, Ellie. Hi, everyone. So as Ellie mentioned earlier, in this Goal 2 area, we focus mainly on promoting patient awareness through the adaptable educational resources, enhancing shared decision-making, and supporting HCPs to implement personalized care. For the educational resources, our goal this year is to gather and share learnings on what it takes to implement them in different contexts. And to this end, we will conduct a pilot in Canada, which aims to integrate the resources into clinical practice. And we will also aim to conduct a similar pilot in Nigeria. As these 2 countries are different in terms of PM accessibility, we will be looking forward to the outcomes of both pilots and what we would learn from them. I see Ronsi is here with us. So Ronsi, would you like to share some words on your objectives for the pilot in Nigeria?
Oh, yeah, sure. Thank you very much. I just wanted to say that, I mean, we're really, really excited about what we did last year. And I think the value of what we did last year was that we didn't just pick out the adaptable materials and just start implementing it. We actually used the principle of patient engagement to, first of all, engage the patient, ask them, what do they think about this? Is this valuable to them? Before even developing and co-creating these particular materials. And when we had the focus group discussion, it was very useful to gain insights on how valuable these adaptable materials will be, for the patient if we, start disseminating these particular materials across the country. I'm really looking forward to 2025 and all the plans that we have, because I strongly believe that in what we are hoping to do now, which is going to be not just only at the nonprofit level, but now we're thinking around working more into the clinical setting, integrating these materials more into the, working with HCP, hosting focus group discussions, as well as also sharing our data, because I know, having access to data from low and middle income countries and also across Africa is usually a very big issue. So we don't just want to do all this pilot, all this demonstration pilot and all this work without sharing. So we're targeting having a manuscript come out of this that would really help not just Nigeria, but other countries like Kenya and other countries that are low and middle income countries to also see how they could replicate what we're doing. So, I mean, I'm really, really excited because I think this really ties a lot to when we're talking about empowering, precision medicine champions, like to improve access to primary, to precision medicine system. We can't really do that a lot if we are just only thinking about, empowering systems that are already strong. However, when we're also considering other systems that are not strong, there is a lot that we could learn and to also help even the strong systems to really cherish what they currently have, and what is existing in those systems. Thank you.
Thanks for sharing, Ronsi. So moving forward to our plans for enhancing shared decision-making, we will pilot a patient-friendly results disclosure tool designed to help HCPs and patients have conversations about biomarker test results. So we also aim to assess the impact of this tool on patient understanding of test results and the workflow between pathologists and oncologists. So towards the end of the year, we will also publish the pilot's outcomes. And for the supporting HCP piece, the goal this year is to build the capacity of HCPs to implement precision medicine at the point of care through communities of practice and peer-to-peer learning. So we aim to empower HCPs, starting with nurses and pathologists, with a deeper understanding of the challenges and needs for implementing precision medicine, and also the actionable best practices that could be scaled or adapted to their contexts. So to wrap up our work plan for this year, a few milestones on our roadmap are the pilot in Canada and Nigeria to integrate the educational materials in clinical practice, an abstract submission to ASCO and ESMO for the Canada pilot, a pilot in Italy to test the biomarker, the patient-friendly biomarker test result disclosure tool, 2 community of practice meetings with nurses in collaboration with GPON, and 1 POF session targeted at patients and HCPs, which will be focused on unlocking the potential of nurses and pathologists in precision oncology care delivery. So I'll now hand it over to Helena to give an overview of the work plan for the Goal 3 area.
Thanks so much, Ozioma, and for the comments, Ransi. Maybe before I launch into Goal 3, I wanted to check if anyone has any reactions or questions from the first 2 goal areas, because those are the ones that are quite meaty when it comes to all the different areas of work that we plan on doing. So I'm just going to pause very briefly just to see if anyone has any questions. Deb, go ahead.
Right. This is reminding me of information. There's an article that came out in 2022 that you guys probably know about, that talked about the barriers. There's 7 gaps and barriers throughout the system of what happens. That actually they studied lung cancer in the US, and only 36% of the people who would be eligible for biomarker driven treatment are getting it. And so they identified 7 barriers throughout the system. It started with, are they even getting biopsies and blood? And then what happens to the biopsies along the way, and patients drop out. So they've got a really good chart of those 7 areas. And this year they're building a roadmap with potential solutions for those. And it involves all of the things that FT3 is talking about and working on also. So I think it might be worth pulling some of these efforts together, at least having conversations so that we're working in parallel and in concert and hopefully that will help really move the system forward. But you have a lot of really good educational resources, and thinking through that side of it with healthcare providers and patients, and they're looking more internally into health systems and the barriers that are within them. So this is a long-winded thing. I was writing a chat, but I wanted to make sure that I mentioned this to you because I think I would be happy to put you together with the PMC group and the efforts that are going on. And I'm trying to find the article right now and I'm not having any luck, but I will send it later if I can.
Thanks so much, Deb. That's really helpful to understand. And I think I am familiar, or someone had shared at some point the report, but I wasn't aware of the follow-up activities in building a roadmap. We were actually supposed to have a call with Daryl from PMC this afternoon, but it was canceled last minute. So it's actually useful that I know that now before I have the call again. So thanks a lot for sharing. And
yeah, it's
I'd be really
probably
happy
about the roadmap.
to get more information. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Another one is the Cancer Precision Medicine Commons, CPMC, which some of us are a part of on this call, but it's a larger group and I'm on the leadership group for that. And we have some goals for 2025 that fit very nicely in with what you're doing. And so I think maybe another call with them. And in fact, I have on my list of things to do to tie Vincent to Nikki Martin from Longevity, who is leading that effort.
Thanks so much, Deb. And that reminds me, because we have also been doing, by the way, behind the scenes, a kind of mapping of what we know the different sister initiatives are working on right now. And perhaps we can also circulate that as part of the follow-up so that you can all have a look as well. And also so that you are aware of what we know or what we don't know. And then indeed, if there are other initiatives like that that we have not captured, that's good for us to know so that we can make the link. So thanks a lot for sharing that. It's really helpful. Okay, any other questions or comments or suggestions? Okay, I'll move on for the time being, and then if you want to speak, just raise your hand or pop a note in the chat, and we can hear from you. So continuing with goal 3, there is not much new to this compared to what I had already shared before. Suffice it to say that it's really important for us to continue with our mission to connect, empower, support the active multi-stakeholder community that you are, but also beyond. And so I mentioned that we have this idea of continuing communities of practice, and you heard about one with the nurse community. So we're looking at different ways that we can create spaces for like this kind of peer-to-peer support, but also between stakeholder groups as well. We'll talk a little bit more about what we have in store for precision medicine signups in a few minutes. And then the other thing that I wanted to share with you is about the demonstration pilots. For that, I'm going to be handing over to Lidevai. And finally, just to mention that we also continue, we have a kind of mini work plan for more of like the program and the governance side of things. And one thing we will be working on with the board this year is to do a mid-year, more of a midterm review. We have a 5-year strategy and we're about 2 or 3 years in now. So we'd love to take a few meetings to go through that together and identify, where we have been successful in moving the needle, where there's still more work to be done. And we also know that this is a space that is changing really quickly. And, as we were just discussing, there are a lot of different initiatives coming in and changing all the time. And so we want to make sure that we have a really good sense of that and adapt if we need to. So that is also something we will be working on more on the governance side. But I will, I'm going to hand over to Lidevai for the demonstration pilots to explain in a little bit more detail what we have been doing and opportunities for you to get involved.
Thank you, Elena. So as we mentioned, in 2025, we will build on the work of 2024 with the pilots at local level. As we know, there's still a lot of work to do to accelerate access with local champions in different contexts. looking also at different archetypes, so where there is already adoption or where there is already reimbursement, etc. So we're hearing different potential directions and needs, and I'm really looking forward to hear from you of what is a priority need also in your context or what you're hearing from your members. So one of the things we are hearing is a need to support pathologists and other professionals to implement the most appropriate diagnostics at the right time. But you're hearing several challenges and a need for better knowledge and standards, especially when it comes to pre-analytical phases to improve tissue collection. We are also hearing a need to focus on the more post-analytical phase in supporting pathologists and others with the results interpretation to reduce the avoidable errors and increase also efficiency, and the need for a holistic approach and really the acceleration of tumor boards and multidisciplinary teams across the different phases. So based on that, we're looking at a pilot towards improving ability and confidence of pathologists and care teams with the direction of more collaborative approaches when it comes to capacity building, holistic training, and peer-to-peer support. And I really looking forward to hearing from you, like, is there a particular direction or a particular need that you feel we should focus on most? At the same time, we are not looking only at what needs to happen at the more care or operational level, but also more at the system level, so how we can influence change and influence like access decision making. And so here we are hearing a need to better understand how to accelerate access in different contexts, especially also what role the patient community can play, and potential directions could be to work on more a value case from a patient perspective and looking at leveraging data to make a compiling case, supporting also the evidence collected by industry, or looking also at how to advance access to, for example, diagnostics in low and middle income countries. So there are different directions. Again, it's up for discussion, and happy to hear your thoughts or to plan a separate call to hear from you where we should focus our efforts in 2025.
Thanks a lot, Leadify. And I just wanted to underline that it's really important for us to be able to move forward on this, to hear from you, to validate these, some of this, which sometimes are assumptions. So we have a lot of discussions and there are a lot of ideas that come around the table. But for example, with the pathologist one, ultimately we say, okay, well, we actually need to just hear from the pathologist and make sure that we're validating these with them, and you know, whatever we do, that it's going to be helping them at the end of the day. So if you have insights, if you have spoken to these stakeholder groups, if you have insights to share, that would be much appreciated. And also if you have a great connection with other pathologists, perhaps that aren't in a network, and would be able to provide some insights here, that would be really helpful. And the same for the other opportunity around increasing and influencing change in access. So if you have any feedback already now, please feel free to pop it in the chat, and otherwise let us know if you'd like to discuss it further and we can take it offline. In the interest of time, I'm just going to continue on. And so I wanted to remind you or introduce you, if you're new to FT3, about Precision Medicine Synapse. So this is a fantastic platform that we have as a resource, both as a resource for you, but also kind of a shop window to be able to share your activities as well. So it's a platform, an interactive platform that's available and open to anyone who can come in. And the idea is to be able to discover and make connections and identify what is going on in the precision medicine community when it comes to initiatives and resources and events and really anything that's happening. It's a place for you to also come and showcase what you have been doing. So let's say you have been doing a project on some kind of topic and you want to share the publication that came out. You can do that on Precision Medicine Synapse. We also have some changes coming, so I wanted to share that with you just so that you have that top of mind for when we are ready to announce it. So we have a new feature called My Synapse that is going to be coming this year, and which we'd like to test on the FT3 Precision Medicine platform. So My Synapse is a tool that's basically going to help users explore relevant content more easily. And we're really excited about this feature because we feel it's going to help our mission to help champions find relevant information according to their specific context, which could include, let's say, like the challenges they face, the kind of country type they might be in. And then the other feature that we have, which is actually already available, is a groups feature. Which is a feature that basically allows us to form different kinds of groups and for these groups to come together and kind of share information, share updates, almost like a LinkedIn feed. And it could be really interesting for us to explore this for the bigger community of practice, or maybe communities within the bigger community of practice, and also groups like the FT3 membership and the FT3 board. So we will be contacting you for more information. And if ever you would like to know more about precision medicine Synapse and would like a demo, just let us know and we'd be really happy to set that up. So just to continue with that, I also wanted to share some events. So here we have an overview of the different kinds of key meetings that we have planned and conferences we'll be attending. I wanted to bring your attention to some events that will be happening in the near future because we already have quite a jam-packed schedule. We're really excited to share that on January 29th, we are going to be hosting a webinar together with the World Patients Alliance on the promise of precision medicine. So this will be a webinar for the WPA community to help them understand what precision medicine is, and also share some examples of how the patient community have been involved in efforts to improve and advocate for changes in access. And I think someone on my team, or if not, we can do it by email, but we can share with you the information to be able to sign up, and we'd love to see you there. Another one that I wanted to highlight is that on February 18th, we will be doing a session with the Patient Engagement Open Forum called Bridging Healthcare Professionals and Patients in Precision Oncology, about unlocking nurses and pathologists' potential. So this one should also be of interest to anyone who's more into the kind of goal 2 area of work. And finally, as we had mentioned before, the next session with GPON, with the Nurse Network, will be happening on the 11th of March for anyone who's interested. So please do take a look at that and sign up and share that with your communities. And then just to continue with that, we wanted to end with some ideas for how to get involved, as we always do. Now we're here at the beginning of the year. For those of you who will know us, you will be used to this idea that we share a survey at the beginning of every year, and we use this survey just to check back with you and check where you would like to continue to be involved. Or indeed, if you'd like to change the working group you've been in, try something new, or join a new work stream. So if you have not responded to the survey, please answer the survey and let us know where you would like to stay in touch with us. And that way we can make sure that you are receiving all the relevant emails and things and meeting invitations. So you have the QR code there, and perhaps we can also share the link in the follow-up email. And then on the next slide, we have noted here some of the priority stakeholder groups that we had identified with the other FT3 members and FT3 board. So if you're able to help us connect with any of these, we'd really appreciate the help. And again, please sign up on Precision Medicine Synapse. And if you need any help to do that, just let us know. And I wanted to end with one more last opportunity with the last minute that we have. On behalf of the Patient Focused Medicines Development Program, I'm really pleased to share that we are putting together an award. So the PFMD do this annually, and they've put together this award to recognize those who have made a difference in shaping patient-centric care by engaging patients in research and development and in care settings. And so there's an open call for nominations, and you can also nominate yourself. So if you have been doing something that you think is really groundbreaking in partnering with the patient community, please go ahead and make a submission. The deadline is the 14th of February, so we only have a few weeks left. We'd love to hear from you. And I also wanted to mention that if you applied in the past but weren't selected, I know that we've been overwhelmed by applications in the past, so don't hesitate to submit again. And if you're looking for more insights or maybe tips on how you can make your application as appealing as possible, just let us know, and we can help you with that as well. So please have a look at that, and we hope to see a lot of nominations and applications from the precision medicine community, also to have some recognition of the work we are doing in FT3 and beyond. So with that, thank you very much for your time. Managed to just fit it in just about in an hour, and really excited for the year ahead and all the different things that are underway.